Yeah, hello, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, thank you. Hello, thank you. Hello. Hello, thank you. Asa, Professor Rukwaro and your team, thank you very much indeed for, can see you are keeping Professor, thank you very much indeed. Professor Kibaga, all the vice chancellors who are here, welcome, and our visitors from China, and thank you very much indeed. The chancellor is 1 minute away. I will request when she comes, please let's all be upstanding, and we give a lot of appreciation for her, for even finding time to be with us. That's a professor, that's Dr. Vijora Tanzi, the Chancellor, University of Nairobi. Mr. Director, DCI, I will request you to come and also greet and welcome the guests, and as you make them feel comfortable. My name is Mr. Joguna, BD Joguna, the Registrar Administration, University of Nairobi, and thank you very much indeed. Mr. Oridi.
Good welcome to all of you, our guests who are here with us, and also the ones who are online from China. Feel very welcome here at the University of Nairobi today. We have 2 events here, and when the guests arrive, I think I'll take you through the program. Vice Chancellors from different universities. You can see Professor Kibuage from Egerton University. Feel very welcome. Professor Jagani from Mount Kenya University, Professor Bakari, all of you feel very welcome to the University of Nairobi. We also have our deans of faculty at the back there. Please feel welcome. The chancellors arrive. Please stand up. Welcome. Let's be seated. Let's be seated. Thank you very much, everybody. And again, a good welcome to all of you. Madam Chancellor, we welcome you to this launch today. We are also privileged to have the PS for ICT and Youth Affairs online and other guests. Before we start on the program, I would request everybody to rise up so that we can have the anthems played, and then we start the program. Please rise up. Thank you.
of Nairobi, we left all together in such form. We are all in a world of excellence in order, knowledge to someone another, knowledge to someone mankind. Be noted of thy pride, excellence prevail. Every ocean of its own, of the ivory tower, we sacrifice our dedication of problems we don't come. We sacrifice our dedication of problems we don't come. We are the fount of knowledge, weakness, we are the vision. Lord, give us grace to start, and the future is bright, and the children shall be from the fount of knowledge. Knowledge shall surely set them free. Knowledge shall surely set them.
Thank you very much. Let's be seated. Our chief guest, who is online, I hope he has already logged in. Our chief guest is the PS for ICT and Youth Affairs, Jerome Chieng. He's not able to join, but he has asked for a link to join us. He'll be with us shortly. We have the Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Dr. Vijay Ratans, with us here in the front table. Professor Stephen Kiama, Vice Chancellor, University of Nairobi, and also the current president of International Institute for Online Education. Professor Kiama, welcome. We have guests here from different organizations, partner organizations. There on my right, we have Ms. Fiona Pan from Huawei, Deputy CEO and Head of Public Affairs. Please welcome. We have the Chairman of Guadong Chamber of Commerce in Kenya, Mr. Zian Weijian, Mr. Zian Weijian, and his partner there, also from Chamber of Commerce, Guadong, who are also our partners here in this project. Feel welcome, Henrik. And we also have with them there the new director of Confucius Institute at the University of Nairobi. In the middle, we have vice chancellors from our sister universities. We have vice chancellors from Seco University. We have vice chancellor from RAF University, vice chancellor from Masai Mara here with us. We have vice chancellor from Egerton University, Professor Kivdwage. We also have our deans and a number of university deans of faculties presented here and heads of departments. I want to welcome you all here to this program today. We have two programs in one today. We have the launch of International Institutes for Online Education, which is a network for global online education. We are commissioning the National Center here at the University of Nairobi. And again, we're also going to launch the Smart Classroom, which is also a product of this collaboration. The Smart Classroom is a computer lab, which allows us to use artificial intelligence to deliver teaching and learning to our students and also to here within the university and also online. And it will be helping us to share knowledge through artificial intelligence. So we welcome you all to these programs. My name is John Eorindik, and without taking much ado, I want to take this opportunity to welcome the Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Stephen Kiama, to give his welcoming remarks, Professor, and also move with the program. Welcome, Prof.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So I'm happy to see you this morning. This is a great day for us as university, as we receive you, Madam Chancellor, Dr. Vijura Tansi, because this initiative we are launching today, I understand you initiated it many years back. I think it must be 2018, yeah, thereabout, when you visited China. And now we have reached where we are now. And recently I was now elected by my colleagues to be the rotating president for year 2022. The previous president was from the university in Pakistan. Yeah. So we expect that this initiative will bring in transformation and digital transformation and inclusion, because the various networks that we have in Zambia, in Mongolia, in Egypt, in Malaysia, and in Nairobi, we will be interacting and sharing knowledge, and that it will improve the way we deliver digital education. So you are all welcome for this event, and we are very happy to have you this morning. Asante sana.
Now we are going to the section on speeches. As I mentioned, we have our partners online. We have Chairman of Board of Directors of Guangzhou Creative View Technology, who is also a key partner in this program in the delivery of smart classroom. We have the UNESCO Regional Director for East Africa, Professor Hubert Gizen, online. He will also be speaking to us in a short while. We have the Director of International Institute for Online Education, Dr. Li Ming, who is also online. And I want to welcome Dr. Li Ming to make his remarks, and then we proceed from there. He's online.
各位上午好，尊敬的肯尼亚信息通讯技术创新部的首席秘书杰罗奥先生，尊敬的内罗毕大学名誉校长维琼罗坦西博士，尊敬的内罗毕大学校长史蒂芬教授，尊敬的教科文东非办主任休伯特教授先生，各位参会的校长、女士们。
Excuse me, Dr. Ming. I'm going to request a translator from the simultaneous. Oh, okay. Thank you. Right.
Onto you can switch that from the bottom of the Zoom settings, please.
这个今天在我们来看呢，这是一个非常重要的日子。那么在肯尼亚内罗毕大学举行 IIOE 肯尼亚国家中心的启动仪式，参加的有各位校长、各位院长，还有这个各位重要的方面的嘉宾。我想这是各方共同努力的结果。那么我们 IIOE 国家中心的设立，将是我们联合国教科文组织高等教育创新中心进一步和肯尼亚大学及其利益相关各方 推进教师混合教学能力，提升他们的数字化应用能力的这么一个重要的一个推动的开始。我们将利用这个平台，吸引更多的大学和教师参与到这个进程当中来。我想我们双方经过双方的讨论，尤其是肯尼亚大学的现任校长是我们2022年度 IIOE 的全球轮值主席。我相信在他的主导下，我们将双方经过协商，紧密围绕肯尼亚大学和肯尼亚国家教师的需要，实行本地化的这样一些重点突出的教师混合能力的赋能，使得我们双方在这个项目上让更多的教师受益，更多的大学在数字化进程上得到快速的提升。那么看到今天有很多嘉宾。
Director Ming, we can't get you.
The fourth industry revolution, digital transformation of higher education, COVID-19. The fourth industry revolution, digital transformation of higher education, COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and other factors are reshaping the global higher education landscape. Such changes have brought opportunities and challenges for the higher education transformation of higher education, COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and other factors are reshaping the global higher education landscape. Such changes have brought opportunities and challenges for the higher education systems and institutions in Asia and Africa. Capacity building of HEIs will be key to building more resilient higher education systems. The International Institute of Online Education, IIOE, was launched by UNESCO-ICHEI with 11 leading HEIs in Africa and Asia, 9 global edtech enterprises, and 4 HEIs in China in December 2019 in Shenzhen, China. IIOE is committed to addressing common challenges facing higher education in developing countries, and it aims to strengthen the capacity of HEIs, especially the capacity of the higher education workforce to conduct online and blended learning, to enhance access to and quality of higher education in developing countries, and to help achieve SDG 4. Since the initiation of IIOE in December 2019, IIOE has grown into a global supportive ecosystem for the digital transformation of higher education, connecting HEIs in 12 countries in the Asia-Pacific, 15 countries in Africa, and 2 countries in West Asia. Each year, one IIOE partner, HEI, takes up the role of the IIOE Rotating Presidency Unit. In 2020, Ain Shams University, Egypt, assumed the role of IIOE's first presidency unit, followed by the University of Engineering and Technology, Lahore, Pakistan, as the second one in 2021. In 2022, University of Nairobi, Kenya, assumed the role as the IIOE presidency unit. In response to the needs of an increasing number of IIOE members in terms of digital transformation, the IIOE National Centre initiative was initiated by UNESCO-ICHEI in 2021 in consultation with IIOE partner HEIs. IIOE National Centers will serve as national and regional hubs for higher education digital transformation with the following main functions. Establish an IIOE National Hub for Higher Education Digital Transformation. Build a national network of HEIs to support higher education digital transformation. Construct a national platform of dialogue and mutual exchanges for professional development of higher education workforce by coordinating local HEIs' participation in IIOE dialogues, workshops, trainings, and meetings. Conduct joint research in educational technologies and digital transformation of higher education in collaboration with UNESCO-ICHEI, and apply research outcomes to support higher education digital transformation. UNESCO-ICHEI will provide project-based funding, hardware and software support, technical training and policy advice to the IIOE National Centers, while the IIOE National Centers will build national network of HEIs and implement projects in the field of online and blended teaching and learning. The first group of IIOE National Centers are taking root in Pakistan, Mongolia, Malaysia, Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, and Zambia. UNESCO-ICHEI and partner HEI's joint efforts in developing localized education resources, tools, and policy guidelines will allow the IIOE network to reach a greater audience and serve more higher education professionals in the country. The IIOE platform now hosts more than 630 ICT discipline courses and teacher professional development courses in Chinese, English, French, and Arabic, Russian. The multilingual IIOE advanced training programs in big data and artificial intelligence have served more than 9,000 higher education professionals from 135 countries. IIOE has also organized 13 global webinars on a wide range of topics, such as online and blended teaching and learning, innovation and curriculum reform in STEM, and professional development in the digital era, engaging with more than 5,800 higher education professionals around the world. The IIOE Advanced Training Program in Artificial Intelligence brings together teachers from Pakistan, Côte d'Ivoire, China, and Japan to demonstrate concepts and cases on the applications of AI in higher education. The University of Colombo in Sri Lanka, Qadi Ayad University in Morocco, and the Mongolian University of Science and Technology in Mongolia are also developing online training programs on implementing online and blended teaching and learning, all of which to be shared with the global IIOE partners. 2021 is the year when IIOE becomes more widely available in multiple languages. IIOE in Arabic is officially launched, and Arabic-speaking learners can now take advantage of the specialized courses, advanced training programs, and webinars in Arabic. Meanwhile, IIOE is also actively developing the platform and related educational resources in Russian and Spanish. Together, we are breaking down the language barriers to quality, open educational resources, co-constructing more localized and customized courses and programs for HEIs in specific contexts. 2021 is the year when IIOE joins forces with the Smart Classroom project to support the digital transformation of partner HEIs. through multi-stakeholder partnerships between UNESCO-ICHEI, partner HEIs, partner enterprises, and the Southern University of Science and Technology, the Smart Classroom project builds a digital teaching and learning environment for both implementing the IIOE programs and implementing online and blended teaching and learning at the university. 6 smart classrooms have already been installed at partner HEIs in Pakistan, Egypt, Djibouti, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, and Mongolia. Meanwhile, remote installations continue for the 3 phases of Smart Classroom projects planned for 22 countries around the world. With the technical and financial support from our enterprise partners, Weidong Cloud Education, Guangzhou CreateView, and Siwo, we wish to finish the installations of all the planned projects as soon as possible to provide the much-needed support for implementing online and blended teaching and learning at our partner HEIs. As we embark on 2022 and look toward 2050 and beyond to reimagine the futures of higher education, IIOE invites global partners to continue contributing to several future priorities. Looking forward to this new year, IIOE will bring about new functionalities to its platform based on smart technologies, localize its support to the higher education professionals with the help of IIOE National Centers, and roll out new courses and trainings. IIOE will also pilot online degree programs and the integration of enterprise-certified courses into university curricula to help bridge the gap between academic offers and labor market demands. UNESCO-ICHEI looks forward to expanding upon the existing IIOE network and inviting more HEIs, international organizations, enterprises, and related stakeholders to build future-ready higher education driven by digital technologies.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ming, Professor Ming, for the presentation. It's now my pleasure to welcome Professor Hubert Giesen to make a presentation on the policies and initiatives driving and supporting higher education digital transformation in Eastern Africa. Professor Giesen, welcome.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. Very good morning, dear colleagues, dear friends. It's good to see you. And to those here in the University of Nairobi, I would say, habari za asubuhi, ninafurahi sana with this launch of the IIOE. It is a ceremony, so a joyful, it's good that we start a week with a joyful event. I'm very happy with this. Vice Chancellor, congratulations, and yet again another initiative where we are teaming up and collaborating, so this will also help to further strengthen our collaboration. You can see, let me start with the first slide. Can someone project it? I have a few slides, and the first thing is you will notice from the presentation. Let me see if it is uploading. Can you please put it on? Can you confirm once you see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can see the presentation.
Yeah. Very good. So as you can see, I have taken a bit of academic freedom here. I've decided to change the title yesterday evening when I was preparing the slides. So the title I use for my presentation is Africa's Digital Transformation, a catalyst to drive quality, access, and relevance in higher education. And I would emphasize these 3 criteria as the key criteria for tertiary and higher education. It must all be about quality, it must be about quantity, that is the numbers, the access, and it must be about relevance. Next slide. So what are the core missions of universities worldwide? Of course, we recognize the 3 core missions of universities and teaching and to have an output of highly qualified graduates. They have a function in R&D and the advancement of knowledge. And that's very important and sometimes forgotten, that knowledge shouldn't stay in the ivory tower. It needs to transfer and be applied. So knowledge transfer. And then the question I ask is, what does quality mean in this context? Next slide. So first, before I go to the quality issues, what is the situation now in Africa? And here are some facts and figures. We have almost some 1,700 universities in Africa. And if you look worldwide, this is only some 9% of the total number of higher education institutions in the world. Yet Africa hosts 17% of the world population. So it is much lower than one would expect based on the population. And just to add that Africa is a very useful population, and therefore the number is really low. Yet we have almost 15 million students active in higher education institutions. Let's look at the spanning of R&D. The R&D spanning is about 0.6% of GDP, which is low if you compare that to the OECD recommendation of 3% of GDP. And let's also be aware that this is a lower percent of GDP of an already lower GDP in most African countries. And then on the last block, you see then, the results of all of this, having a low number of institutions, a low percent of GDP in R&D. You see that the output is low. In Africa contributes merely at 1% of global R&D expenditure. So of all the R&D expenditure globally, only 1% comes from Africa, 2.5% of global researchers, 3.5% of, sorry, there seems to be a problem. What is the problem?
Yes.
Is it showing? Okay.
There were issues with showing.
All right, there was an issue with the presentation. I hope you can see it now. And here are the figures I've been talking about. So that leads to only 3.5% of scholarly publications, or 3.5% of the worldwide production. And I remind again, yet we represent here in Africa 17% of the world population. Maybe also on quality, good to note that in the Times Higher Education rankings, just for this year, the latest figures show that there is only one university from Africa in the ranking, in the top 250, and that is not surprisingly the UCT in South Africa, which ranks 183. If we go to UniRank, last year's figures, the African university ranking, in the top 200 universities in Africa, the first 6 are based in South Africa. And I'm happy to see the University of Nairobi listed at the 9th position. Next slide. So when we talk about quality, let me first summarize some of the challenges. The challenges in universities in Africa, which were already reflected in the previous slide. It is one of resources, limited resources, be it financial, be it facilities, be it staff and staff capacities and networks. There is a quantity challenge. The number of universities, the number of researchers, the numbers of publications and patents, and I showed that in the previous slide. There is, however, also a lack of collaboration between higher education institutions, harmonization of curricula, mobility of researchers and teachers and students, and a lack of cooperation, therefore. There is also gaps in quality assurance, an important issue addressed in the Addis Convention. And then we end with quality. And as I said, only one university in Africa is listed in the top 250 times higher education ranking. Next slide. So then back to the issue of quality, and I always say in academia and higher education, everything is about quality. And we need to break that down because quality has several dimensions. It has a relevance dimension. Are the graduates being absorbed by the labor market? Do they find employment? And unfortunately, I didn't look up the figures, but I have some figures on that. If some are interested, I can share them. We see that many universities in Africa are training for unemployment. And I think that says it all. Then quality has a quantity dimension. This is, I come back to that later, but also quality has a gender dimension. It has a resource dimension, and it has a time dimension. Next slide. A bit more on the relevance dimension. This is about employability of graduates. And we need to, in fact, in education, always apply foresight. So today, we need to think about the jobs in 20 years' time. So we're talking about Africa's green transformation, but what does that mean? What kind of jobs and skills does that call for? And do we have these programs active in our universities? So it is about the relevance of the knowledge, the skills, and the competencies of the academics of tomorrow. And that needs reflection on new skills. We have to, in fact, think about jobs that haven't been invented yet, and yet still build the skills in the students that we are training. And the relevance here is to really build the skills to drive the global paradigm shift to its sustainable development and green economies. Next slide. The quantity dimension, and here it's first about the student intake capacity. We have a very useful population, but how much % of the young people really manage to register at university and take university studies? We also need to look at the academic staff student ratio, the number of researchers per million of inhabitants, the number of publications per million of inhabitants, the same for patents. But also let's look at university budgets and what % of GDP for R&D. All of these data, you can find them back in the latest UNESCO Global Science Report. So I refer to that document. Next slide. Yeah, and then of course the gender dimension of quality. And look at our student intake, female, male, which is not too bad. Up to MSc, it's more or less parity. But then graduates, how many make it to graduation? How many make it then to become a researcher? And in Africa, we see that female researchers only comprise 1 out of 3 researchers. But if we look at top executives, and this is a global figure, don't be surprised to see that in the Fortune 500 CEOs, the top 95% of them is men. Next. Back to the resource dimension, and I think the photos say it all. You see that nice car on the left, it's only half price, but you see what you get. Quality has a price, and we need to recognize that. So we need to look at university budgets. We need to look at new ways of financing. For instance, the university I'm registered with as a professor in Holland, the government has applied output financing. So the university gets a minimum budget to just stay alive, but the rest of the financing comes on the basis of production. So for every PhD student I graduate, my university gets 125,000 euros as output financing. For every publication I score, it will be $15,000 or euros, and so on. So the university can really earn income from government on a basis of output. And that's, of course, a big incentive for universities to focus more on output. So we need to look at research budgets. We need to look at the pay per academic. How much are our academics in Africa actually paid? And does it really make sense to be an academic in university? Can we afford to spend 200% of our time on output? How many MSc and PhD fellowships are available? And do we have top facilities? Next slide. Now, what can Africa do to address all these dimensions and all these challenges? And to do that in a cost-effective way, in a game-changing way, using innovation. And I strongly believe that we could leapfrog by using the power of connectivity. So it is all about collaboration, connectivity, and cooperation. And think of it, if you put the best brains of the continent together to develop joint degrees, MSc programs, PhD programs, you can have the awarding either via joint degrees, split side, double degrees. You can also go beyond the academic programs and do joint research. So the message here is be innovative, be flexible. But let me emphasize here also, all of that is only possible if we also pay attention to the Addis Convention. And here's where the Addis Convention falls in place. Because the only way that universities can really collaborate in that way, that the University of Nairobi would recognize a module that is offered by, let's say, the Zimbabwe University in Harare, then the question is quality and quality assurance. So you need to have systems in place for academic quality assurance, recognition, credit point systems, credit point transfer, and so on. Next slide. So just to emphasize here that digitization indeed can help leapfrog the relevance, the quantity, and the quality of tertiary and higher education in Africa. Next slide. And I give some examples from earlier work that we did as UNESCO in Asia and the Pacific, where we worked with the School on Internet Asia, and this was in the late 2000s, where we put really universities and university networks together. You see there at the flag of Indonesia at the bottom, inherent. In Indonesia, I found out they had at that time already in the late 2000s, a university network connecting all the 375 universities via broadband, internet, video conferencing. I found the same in Malaysia, in the Philippines, in Thailand. So it occurred to me that we could connect all these national networks into a regional one. And then, of course, I needed satellite space. I went to see the president of the Keio University, which is the largest engineering university in Asia and the Pacific, based in Tokyo. And we managed to do that. And now the game starts. Now you can facilitate that universities in the region start collaborating, start designing joint programs. And in the next slide, you see some examples. We started with biotechnology, some 20 universities working together, and we developed the UNESCO-ICHEI School of Biotechnology. And in this program, we had Nobel laureates teach, and live sessions, not just everything downloadable and boring, and it feels so distant. No, via live sessions. We have another good example here in Africa, where since the late 90s, we have been working, facilitating that universities, departments in the area of water in universities in the SADC region start working together to construct joint MSc, PhDs, research programs. This network today counts 78 departments in universities active in water in the SADC region. So this is WaterNet. Next slide. And just to show that already in 2011, we were working with this. Please start the video. And that was just in the lead up to the Can we start the video? Yes. Yeah. In the lead up to the Rio Plus 20, and can I do it? Sorry, technology. Here we go. It's a very small icon.
Yes.
It starts moving. That's the one. So in the lead up to the Rio Plus 20, we organized a seminar.
Welcome to this extremely exciting seminar with a topic on building a green society, and we'll focus on the roles of education, science, culture, and communication. And we will, in this seminar, connect experts worldwide to share their vision on creating green societies.
And I believe in order to build these green societies, we need connectivity, we need knowledge-based societies, we need education, science, and research.
Terms of the goals also included cooperation between the rich and the poor countries. And it probably is in this area that the biggest breakdown has occurred.
But this is the map of our world. Using so much of the Earth's resources, in fact, Martin-Lies already said it, that experts estimate that soon we will need 2 or even 3 planets Earth.
Basic energy needs of 9 billion people in 2050, we will need to double world energy output to do that.
I really believe that there needs to be a real change in the vision and viewpoint of humanity itself.
In some other economies, they may have different concern. So, assuming on that, basing it on your presumption of clinical economics, how would that apply into this concept of green society?
I would like to thank our speakers, Professor Jeffrey Sachs from New York.
And you can see that this showcases the power of connectivity. We registered this event in the Guinness World Book of Records as the largest university lecture at that time. So this was 2011. The power of connectivity was already recognized. And so how do we move forward on that? The digital transformation in higher education institutions. We need to focus on policies and the legal frameworks, but also on strategies. We need to look at the new role in teaching and learning. Also, the teachers need to adjust in that new role, and they need to be coached and trained to be able to become, from what today they are the center of knowledge, tomorrow in the digital world, they become a facilitator for access to high quality knowledge. It also requires investments in adequate infrastructure. We have to also add the use of mobile technology, which can penetrate much further and into the rural areas. And we need to step up our investment in R&D and innovation. Next slide. Yeah, the last slide is on the way forward. And of course, with the IIOE, I would recommend that we expand this to other countries in Africa, that we increase the cooperation between universities and in a cost-effective way by using connectivity. But I don't honestly believe in 100% e-learning. So we should have the e-learning part coupled to live sessions and interactions, but also coupled to mobility of students, lecturers, researchers, and therefore move towards blended learning modalities. We should look at shaping a new collaborative space for high quality higher education and research by also building on existing facilities and networks. For instance, think about the vast network of UNESCO chairs in universities. We just launched another chair here in Kenya last week. The University Twinning Program, but also resources that UNESCO has so strongly pushed for, the open science, open education resources, and also the use of MOOCs. Now, this will give our students in Africa direct access to the highest quality of educational and research tools available. So I would say UNESCO is currently shaping a new flagship for Africa. It's called Campus Africa. So let's work together to move towards Campus Africa for high quality tertiary and higher education. And the last slide is just to thank you, Asante Sana. Over to you, MC.
Asante sana, Professor. Thank you very much for your presentation. We are going to move very quickly to another presentation by Mr. Zhao, Senior Program Officer, UNESCO-ICHEI. And then after that, we are going to have Professor Justus Nyaga from the University of Nairobi making also a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished guests, Your Excellency, Chief Guest, the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, Mr. Jerome Ochin, Chancellor of University of Nairobi, Dr. Vijay Ratansi, Vice Chancellor of University of Nairobi, Professor Stephen Kiyama, Director of UNESCO Regional Office for Eastern Africa, Mr. Hubert Ginjin, Vice Chancellors and colleagues from universities in Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you the IIOE Kenya National Centre Implementation Framework and Work Plan in 2022. IIOE Kenya National Centre is a multi-stakeholder partnership among UNESCO-ICHEI, Ministry of Education, Ministry of ICT, and the University of Nairobi. UNESCO-ICHEI will provide online platform, online curriculums, teachers, professional development training programs, research, project funding, and extra, while the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of ICT will endorse the establishment of IIOE National Centre and guide the functions. University of Nairobi, as the hosting HEI of IIOE National Centre, will fulfill its functions of IIOE National Centre to support IIOE partner HEIs in Kenya in the field of higher education digital transformation. In this page, you can have a general view of the work plan of IIOE Kenya National Centre in 2022. As you can see in the chart, we will mainly focus on 7 strategic projects and tasks. For example, we will launch IIOE Platform 2.0 in October this year. We will provide a series of webinars and training programs through the whole year. We will also launch several curriculums co-developed with our partnering HEIs and partnering enterprises in the different period of this year. We have co-developed with joining IIOE mechanism with University of Nairobi, and we will also facilitate local HEIs to join IIOE in the next half of this year. We are also working on a series of research product in higher education digital transformation, including a report will be launched in May, and the 3 handbooks will be launched in July. And we will also work together with University of Nairobi to pilot the application and the localization of the research outcome. And we will also provide we will also work together with University of Nairobi to build digital learning environment for the IIOE National Centre. So IIOE Platform 2.0 will be officially launched in October this year to support all 6 United Nations official languages and to support independent management of partner HEI's homepage and to support flexible operation of online course development and publishing. And as you can see on this page, we are planning to launch 15 training programs and 16 webinars, mainly in the field of leading ICT technology, such as cloud computing, Internet of Things, blockchain, and the pedagogy and research on higher education digital transformation. And we will host a few conferences and consultation meetings for partner HEIs to share their best practices as well. And on this page, you can see we are planning to launch a few co-developed curricula together with our partnering HEIs and partnering enterprises, such as 5G, AI, cloud computing, data science, and computer network. And all those co-developed online courses are guided by IIOE competency framework for higher education workforce and 100 skill points for online and blended teaching and learning. And we are certainly will work together with University of Nairobi to co-develop some online courses as well. IIOE welcomes all interested higher education institutions to join the IIOE network, including public university, private university, traditional university, and open universities, TVET institutions, and the teacher training institutes as well, to benefit from the online courses, capacity building programs, webinars, and the tools, and the various activities and expertise and the resources of the IIOE network. And I'm pleased to inform you that the first publication of our series research program, the report on digital transformation of teaching and learning, will be officially published in May in the World Higher Education Conference, also together with the University of Nairobi. And in September, we are expected to launch 3 handbooks in blended learning reform, teaching competency for teachers in higher education, and teaching competencies for teachers in technical and vocational education and training. And we will work together with University of Nairobi to develop a pilot plan for application and the localization of the research result to provide research-based policy recommendations, provide guidance for OBTL, and support research in higher education digital transformation. And the research result is not only a publication, it's more like a comprehensive solution in higher education digital transformation, including standards, assessments, tools, handbook, research library, website and platform, shared community, and complementary documents to provide a comprehensive solution on the higher education digital transformation. And we will also work together with our partner enterprises to launch, to pilot flexible certification and degree programs. We aim to better train graduates with ability skill suited to the needs of digital area. So in August, we plan to jointly launch the industry-based training program for digital talent development with partner enterprise HEIs in the field to provide trainings in the field of IT, finance, and mobile manufacturing sectors as well. And in October, we plan to launch the Huawei professional courses and the certified training on the IIOE platform as well. And finally, UNESCO-ICHEI plans to invest about $40,000 in addition to the smart classroom to help University of Nairobi to build a digital learning environment, including hardware, software, maybe consultancy and expertise, and to provide a better environment to support the higher education digital transformation functions of IIOE National Centre in Kenya. And last but not least, we have also co-developed a monitoring and evaluation mechanism with the University of Nairobi, including submission of annual work plan and submission of annual report. And we will also host the conferences such as the IIOE annual partnership meeting for IIOE national centers to share their best practices. And that will be all of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. Back to the MC. Thank you.
Madam Chancellor, Dr. Pijore Tansi, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Kiama, our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Ogengo, the other Vice Chancellors around, the distinguished guests, and our Director, Regional Director for UNESCO here in East Africa. It's another nice time that I'm going to present to you on behalf of the University of Nairobi on our way forward. As we are having this center, what do we expect? Where are we heading to from here? We are happy that as a university, that we have been able to get the ideas that we have been having, that now we want to take them to the implementation stage. And that's what I'm going to present to you here today. What? Where is Tony? Okay. Why is it not? As a university, we're led by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Kiama. We have done a lot since we had COVID. Our Vice Chancellor was visionary, and we started off on online teaching, but now we want to go a notch higher. We have been doing a lot up to date. So today, I want to say from here, where are we heading to? The university management has always been the forefront in terms of online teaching. From here, the management will still play a very important role in the implementation of this project that we are having. The management, again, is going to move forward and make sure that we are going to have the structures in the university. And in these structures, we need people who are going to coordinate the project. We need people to play the various roles at the National Center. We also need people with various responsibilities to ensure that this online teaching becomes a reality. So then, I would like now, this is what is expected of us. You've heard my colleague, Rogers, who has just spoken. He has said the various collaborations that we are going to have with the UNESCO-ICHEI. UNESCO-ICHEI is a UNESCO International Centre for Higher Education Innovations. So we're here, we are having what we are having there. If you can see, the first thing that we're having is that we're having the platform, the online platform upgrade and also development. What are we going to do as a university? So from here, we are intending that from today, since we can see, we have started today. From here, moving forward, that's we intend to continue practicing. We will continue developing that area until we perfect everything in that area. And you can see even our technologists are very busy working there, and we'll do something. And we hope that we'll have participation in training, test, and have a test run around October. And by December, we are going to have this fully functional here at the university. We are hoping, that's what we are intending. We are going to have the IIOE training series and webinars. We are going to start from today until by December. We are expecting that most of these things would have done them as a university. We are also expected, if you heard what Rogers had presented, the collaborations that we are having, that we intend to have systematic IIOE curricula development and to diversify those curricula that we are going to have. So for us, we are again intending that from today, the way we are having this launch, that we expect to do a lot in this area. And since we are having here our vice chancellors who are here, you are here today, I'm sure that our VC will say more, that from here, how do we move forward, all of us? We intend that from today, we are ready for us to work in that area. We expect to have the curriculum development on STEM courses. We expect to look at things on cyber security essentials. And these are the things, if we are going to go online, how secure are we? So this is where maybe you'll find that your departments, like here in the University of Nairobi, we have the Department of Computing and Informatics. So they'll come in very handy. And we also have the Directorate of ICT, we have the Directorate of Advancement, we have the Directorate of Corporate Affairs. All these will work together to ensure that these things are going to work well. So we are going to develop national IIOE network here. That's why we are here. So we are hoping that you are our ambassadors. As you live here, we are going to be together through our Vice Chancellor, Professor Kiama. We'll come together and see how we can work together as a country, as a nation, and also go beyond the Kenya borders. We are also going to do the Higher Education Digital Transformation Research Series and Application. Here, we are not only going to do these trainings of the members of staff on online and blended teaching and learning. We are going to have research informed We do something through research. We are not just going to go to the class and start training our members of staff because we have to train them. No, we must be modern and we must be transformative in whatever we are going to do. So this one, as a university, and our Vice Chancellor is here, you will say more, we are starting it from today. And I hope you're already in our system. You're already joining us, as I am going to show you how you're going to do it later. We also need to have pilot flexible certification and degree programs. You have heard our colleagues the way we are going to collaborate. We'll see which programs can we have online. Yes, we have the UNESCO-ICHEI, they have their programs. We have other universities, they have their programs. But here in Kenya, how are we going to work together from now? And then we move forward. So as a university, I'm sure on behalf of our university, the Professor Kiama will give us direction as to how we can go about that one. We also need to build digital learning environment for the IIOE National Centre. So we are going to do that starting from today, and we shall start doing co-curricular, the co-constructing of the curriculum. We are going to work with the UNESCO-ICHEI. We are going to work with our members of the academic staff here in the University of Nairobi, and we'll also come to you. We are not going to be a monopoly of anything, but we will be there, all of us, to see what we are going to do. So that's where we are heading to. Then we expect that from May to October, we are going to provide feedback on the IIOE platform upgrade and development. That's what we'll do here at the University of Nairobi. And also as we are going to collaborate among ourselves. We are going to participate in the orientation trainings and test runs of the new platform from October to November. And I'm sure from that October to November, all of us will be on board working together towards developing Kenya. From November to December, we expect to run the dedicated IIOE National Centre web pages on the IIOE platform. So we intend, so all of us will be seeing ourselves there, and let's hope that we'll work together well. Then we are going to have some training series. We'll work together. But we are starting here at the University of Nairobi. But I'm seeing our VC would say more on that. We'll work together as a university, here as the center, and then try to see how we will go that way. What are we going to do here? We need to disseminate information of these trainings that we are going to have, the webinars, the conferences, and meetings to you as our partners. You are now our partners, the way we are here, and others who have not come here or others who are listening to us. So here we are talking about, remember, we have now, from here we're going to see more, but we need to have digital transformative pedagogies. How are we going to ensure that we're effective in delivery of the curricula that we are having? So we need people who are going to be informed on online instructional content design, online transformative pedagogy, and online learner assessment that's relevant not only to the Kenyan situation, but also in the East African region or Africa as a whole. We are going to facilitate and organize participation in the IIOE trainings, webinars, and meetings among you, our partners that who have come here and those who will be joining us. Then the next one is where we are going to have systematic IIOE. When I say IIOE, it means the International Institute of Online Education. So that's what we are referring to there. Curricular development and whatever we are going to do thereafter. So we are going to leverage the courses that we are going to have, support teaching and learning. So this will be in all areas from the university. We are not going to be biased. That's why I'm saying there that we are going to do it in arts. We are going to do it in the science. We are going to do it in the engineering. We are going to do it in the technology courses based in the Kenyan context and also the African context. So this one, I'm sure with the support of management, and since the VC is here, we are going to be able to reach there. We are going to have joint development of courses. When I say joint, as a university, that's what we are going to do. And as you, as the partners, as you come in, we'll also do that together to ensure that we are going to do these things properly. Then we'll have mutual sharing of online courses and training programs on this platform that we are going to have. So let's hope for the best. Then now, as you are here, we are going to build a national network. That's why the VC was kind enough to invite all of us to be here with us and those who are listening to us online, that we are going to be a community that is focused on digital literacy, a community that is going to have transformative pedagogy in our classrooms to lead to effective online teaching and learning, to lead to effective blended teaching and learning. That's where we are going. That's where the country is going. And if we are left behind, then we will always be left behind. So here you'll see we are having here. Can you point there? So we have, we're going to have, that's the website that you'll go. After you go here, or you go from here, we'll go there. Then there are stages that we are going to have. We have, if I go here, maybe I reach the number 1 there, we can see. Oh, it's very tiny, you can't read it. So there's a process that we're going to have. You'll apply, we'll receive your application, we'll work with the UNESCO-ICHEI in China, and then you'll be part of us. That's how we are going to register ourselves. So that's what that slide is. And we're going also to have higher education digital transformation research series. That's what I said before. There's nothing that we are going to do that we cannot do through research. Through research, we are going to make it. And that is the emphasis of this. As a center of excellence here at the University of Nairobi, and also your centers of excellence in your respective universities, will work together to ensure that we are going to succeed this. So for example, with the University of Nairobi, we have already written an article on digital transformation in higher education before, during, and beyond COVID-19 pandemic. The case study focuses on the teaching learning interventions here at the University of Nairobi. This was written by our director of ICT, Paul Karaoke, our colleague from the Department of Computing and Informatics, Professor Boko, and the Deputy Director of ICT, Joseph Mushina. And we thank them. So we have got somewhere where we are starting, and we are hoping that we'll continue doing it. So September to December, we expect to have a joint development policy recommendations for higher education, digital transformation of localized blended learning to reform, or learning reform proposal. So that's what we intend to do here at the university, and maybe as we work together, we'll be together on this. We leverage the UNESCO-ICHEI's research to support this national center that we're having on policy development, research, teaching, and learning. And in this case, we expect to collaborate with this in UNESCO-ICHEI in writing proposals for funding. So me and all of us, as we move ahead, we may be together in this journey, and we will feel welcome. Then the next one, and is where we are going to pilot these flexible certification and degree programs. The UN will continue to collaborate with Huawei and other partners that we are going to have in this to ensure that we are going to have the right software, the right hardware to make us enhance our teaching through OPTL. We expect that from August to December, we'll conduct a feasibility study on implementing on professional certified trainings here at the University of Nairobi and with you as our local partners when you come on board. So lastly, I hope I'm not shooting the time. If I'm shooting the time, I'll just say that from April to October, we are going to develop the tailor-made plans for this national center to ensure that we are going to have a good digital learning environment. So here we'll utilize the smart classrooms to support these trainings that we are going to have. And you will see how far the University of Nairobi has been able to do that. And lastly, to ensure that we are doing the right thing, we'll have monitoring and evaluation, and this monitoring and evaluation will ensure that we are doing the right things. With that, ladies and gentlemen, because when you are a teacher, you must summarize very fast, I say thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Inyaga. We are running short behind time, so I'm going to very fast, we are going to the second part of the program, the side on smart classroom. And I'm going to invite the Vice Chancellor, University of Nairobi, to manage that side of the program. Professor Kiama, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Mr. John Orindi. I want to acknowledge the presence of the Chancellor, to acknowledge the presence of the PS, Ministry of Science and Technology and Innovation, to acknowledge the presence of all my colleagues here, the Vice Chancellors from different universities. Thank you for honoring our invitation and for coming for this meeting. I want to acknowledge the Director of UNESCO-ICHEI back in China and his team there, Dr. Ming, and also the President of Kenya, Gwadung Chamber of Commerce, who is also here with us, Mrs. Zian Wejan. And also the Director of UNESCO, who just spoke and shared with us a lot of information. This, members, is a very, very important day for the University of Nairobi and for the entire higher education sector in Kenya as a whole, as we launch this IIOE Kenya National Centre. The journey working together with the UNESCO-ICHEI started in 2018 with the visit of the Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Dr. Fijura Tansi, to China. As I mentioned earlier, we have worked consistently since this visit, and this has resulted in two key initiatives: the International Institute of Online Education, Kenya National Centre that we are launching today, as well as the Smart Classroom that we are also going to open shortly after this. I also understand that Vinten Kimani and David Wekesa were taken for training on the Smart Classroom. It is worth noting that this has been achieved through a mutually beneficial and a sustainable partnership with the UNESCO-ICHEI. The International Institute of Online Education was established with the aim of accelerating digital transformation in higher education through the provision of online and blended pedagogy and STEM online courses through a network of higher education institutions. I invite all higher education institutions to join the network, and Nyega described what is the method of joining. We believe that this will enhance inclusion and equitable education for all. The center will also be expected to promote lifelong learning opportunities because it will be possible to join training from wherever you are at any time. Earlier in the year, the University of Nairobi was selected as the rotating presidency of the IIOE National Centres. And these are several centers. We have now about 7, including University of Nairobi. They are in Nigeria, in Zambia, in Egypt, in Pakistan, in Mongolia, and in Malaysia, as well as Kenya. And currently, I'm chairing as the president of these centers. This is a clear indication that Kenya continues to receive confidence in the global community. And we expect that this momentum should continue. To borrow the words of Lyndon Johnson, if future generations are to remember us more with gratitude than sorrow, we must achieve more than just the miracles of technology. We must also leave them a glimpse of the world as it was created, not just as it looked when we got it, when we got through with it. I have no doubt that we are here alive today. London would proclaim that we have made indelible mark with the opening of the Smart Classroom and the launch of the International Institute of Online Education Kenya Center that will serve and change the lives and the outlook of the current and future generations. We recognize all the partners that have worked with us to ensure that this has become a reality. I note that the creative technologies have supported the computers that you are going to see, and also the chair of this of creative technologies was here for the last Nairobi Innovation Week, where they also supported. As we continue to manage the center for the country and to interlink with the rest of the other centers in the globe, we continue to ask for support, particularly for our server, that we allow integration, a quicker integration of content so that there is not much delay as we work from the China headquarters. So it's one of the things that we will be working together with the center to ensure that with the International Center to ensure that this is done. With those remarks, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the University of Nairobi for the launch of the International Institute of Online Education, the Kenya National Center. Asanteni sana. It's now my pleasure to welcome the Chancellor, University of Nairobi, Dr. Fijura Kansi, to address this meeting. Come. Thank you, Madam. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Kiyama. Now this Mike and I are at war again. I'm not as tall as all of you. Then, you know, they say little people do more. Our chief guest, the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, Mr. Jerome Ochieng is online, I believe. The Director, UNESCO-ICHEI, Professor Li Ming, is online as well. The Regional Director and Representative, UNESCO Regional Office for Eastern Africa, Professor Hubert Gizen. The President of the Kenya Guangdong Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Kim. I will call him Mr. Kim, as we all know him as. The HEIs Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Public Affairs, Ms. Fiona Penn. The Board Chair, Guangzhou Create View Education and Technology Company Limited, Mr. Zhang Yu. The Vice Chancellor, our Vice Chancellor, University of Nairobi, Professor Stephen Kiyama, all Vice Chancellors present, invited guests, members of staff, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very good morning to you all. Thank you. It's my distinct privilege and honor to welcome you all to this huge celebration. It is a joy to be here to witness the culmination of a journey started 4 years ago. The memories of my visit to China with Brian Auma and John Orindi in 2018 at the invitation of UNESCO-ICHEI and Guangzhou Creative View is still fresh in my mind, like it happened yesterday. During that visit, we had very fruitful engagements and enjoyed warm hospitality from Guangzhou Creative View, SUSTEC University, and Huawei. It was this fruitful and memorable visit that earned us many friends and opportunities that we are celebrating today. The key lesson from that visit for us was the need to consistently transform the University of Nairobi to an entrepreneurial university, to leverage on the synergies of the triple helix: industry, academia, and government. Concept of collaboration and development. This allows universities to be more proactive, innovative, and grow capacity to assume risk and manage change. As universities, we are increasingly facing great political and economic changes, pressures from the public for easier access to higher education, expectations to offer solutions to societal problems, and demands for application of principles of market and of economy to our education systems. We must therefore accept the harsh reality that we are no longer strictly regarded as national education systems dedicated for research and education and fully funded by the state. We are alive to dwindling capitation, dwindling students' enrollment, and economic recess. We therefore must now, more than ever, devote more attention to development of collaborations and partnerships with our external stakeholders. Further, our survival and development is dependent on our capacity to incorporate the principles of efficiency and effectiveness in our daily operations. This allows prudent allocation of the limited resources. In the spirit of the occasion, we are here to celebrate. Allow me to congratulate the University of Nairobi for being among the founding global institutions in the IIOE network, whose goal, I shall clap for you, whose goal is to create a supportive ecosystem for digital transformation in higher education institutions, especially in online teaching and learning. In the same breath, I also want to congratulate Professor Stephen Kiama-Gitahi for being selected by his colleagues in the network as the current rotating president of IIOE. Congratulations, Prof. Well done. Your appointment is not only a great honor to the University of Nairobi, but also a good recognition for your concerted efforts in midwifing the project through many the changes until its launch today. Digital transformation is the new world norm. We must thus embrace it with all our might. We must not wait for another crisis in order to act. As David Wallach says, we need technology in every classroom and in every student's and teacher's hand, because it is the pen and paper of our time. It is the lens through which we experience much of the world. We must work with government and other stakeholders to eliminate barriers that hinder digital transformation in higher education. In Africa, if Africa is to remain relevant and competitive in today's knowledge-based economies, it has to rely on higher education institutions as centers of knowledge and knowledge production through strategic curricular innovation driven by information and communications technology, ICT, as we say. Through such networks like IIOE, our universities can play a very strategic role of building our capacities by producing skilled manpower to sustain the growth of our digital economies. Finally, let me appreciate our singular yet greatest all-time enabler, the government of Kenya, for providing infrastructural and policy support. We are infinitely grateful to our partners, UNESCO, UNESCO-ICHEI, SUSTEC University, and Huawei. Thank you all for trusting us and making us who we are today. To all Vice Chancellors present or represented, thank you for standing with us. We appreciate your support. The future of higher education is in the formation of alliances. Let us leverage on each other's strengths and become a formidable source, a very formidable source in our region. Because the world is quite, I wouldn't say slowly, the world is very fast becoming integrated, as we all know. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Yes, thank you, Chancellor, Dr. Vijura Tansi. We appreciate your words of wisdom and your support to this University of Nairobi. I want to invite the representative of the PS, but before I do this, I wanted just to quickly acknowledge all the vice chancellors who are here or represented, because it's important, because this is all about higher education. We have here Madam Chancellor and the others, Professor Joseph Chacha, Acting Vice Chancellor, Masai Mara University. We have here Professor Isaac Kebwage, the Vice Chancellor, Egerton University. We have here Professor Ole Lankei, Vice Chancellor, Scots University. We have here Professor Margaret Mudhui, Vice Chancellor, Pan-African University. We have here Professor Simon Thuranira, Acting DVC, Academic and Student Affairs, Meru University of Science and Technology. We have Professor Deogratis Jagani from Mount Kenya University. We have Dr. Ali Said Isuka, the Acting Vice Chancellor, Islamic University of Kenya. We have Dr. Ali Saidi. No, I think that's those ones who are there. And then we have the other dignitaries we had mentioned. Did I leave any Vice Chancellor who came? Yes. Yes, just mention your name because you. Yes, East African University. Excellent. Yes. 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 Mm-hmm. Yes, welcome, Sparanganga. Yes, excellent. So we are here, and yes, please, yes. Mm-hmm.
Robert Odeke, representing Vice Chancellor Moi University.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so with regards to Professor Kosgei, yeah. Any other? Excellent. So we appreciate all of you for being here with us this morning. I want now to welcome Ruse Molili. Ruse Molili will be representing the PS, State Department of Information and Communication Technology, which we know we have another activity which is taking place at Parliament Building this morning. So he had to rush there to deal with that. But we are glad that also you are able to come here today. Ruse Molili, you are welcome to give your speech. Asante sana.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. I trust you can hear me. My name is Lucy Mulikavudi from the State Department of ICT, and I'm representing the PS, Mr. Jerome Ochieng, who was unable to be with us. And as the Vice Chancellor has explained, that there was an activity at Parliament which he had to rush to this morning. So I will read the speech of the Vice Chancellor. I will read the speech of the Permanent Principal Secretary, State Department for ICT and Innovation, Mr. Jerome Ochieng, during this occasion. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, the Chancellor, University of Nairobi, Dr. Vijura Tansi, the Director, UNESCO International Centre for Higher Education, Innovation, IIHEI, Professor Li Ming, the Regional Director and Representative UNESCO Regional Office and Eastern Africa, Professor Hubert Gidsner, the President of Kenya Guadon Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Zien Wijen, the Huawei Deputy CEO, Public Affairs, Ms. Fiona Pan, the Board Chair, Gwanju Great View Education and Technology Company, Mr. Zhang Yu, the Vice Chancellor, University of Nairobi, Professor Stephen Kiama, all Vice Chancellors present, invited guests, staff, good morning. What a distinct privilege it is to be with you here today to grace the launch of the International Institute of Online Education, IIOE, the Kenya National Centre. I'm glad that the higher education sector is also embracing digital transformation. As the first national university, you have continued to live true to your mission to providing quality education and training. And by doing so, you have fed the country and the entire world with technical and professional requirements. I'm sure your sister universities who are represented here can attest to that and to that good work which you're doing, the University of Nairobi, and of course the other universities. Today, as we gather here, economies are slowly recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. It is imperative to note that many institutions of higher learning represented today here were able to withstand the test of time thanks to embracing technology, and many students have been learning online, especially during the pandemic period. It is a confirmation that digital technologies have become the cornerstone of our daily living. Kenya is recognized in the world as a leader in developing different digital technologies that have spurred economic growth, facilitated trade, improved efficiency, accessibility, and in turn, improved the standards of living. The Ministry of ICT and Innovation and Youth Affairs has been at the forefront supporting digital transformation across all sectors. Through the National Information, Communication and Technology Policy of 2019 and the recently launched Kenya National Digital Master Plan for the next 10 years from 2022 to 2032. The government envisions a close interaction between the higher education institutions and the ICT sector. The synergy created by this relationship has the power to transform economies and provide better value to society, as we are witnessing today. I therefore assure our partners that all these institutions presented here from our Republic of Kenya are in good standing and compliant with the stringent government requirements, and you are welcome to work closely with them in realization of their mandates. To the University of Nairobi, I'm glad that you invited your sister universities to this occasion, and I've invited them to join this network. Indeed, greater satisfaction comes from sharing with others. To borrow from the words of James Stovall, you need to be aware of what others are doing, applaud their efforts, acknowledge their successes, and encourage them in their pursuits. When we all help one another, everybody wins. As a government, we are proud of the various teams that have enabled the launch of the International Institute of Online Learning, Kenya National Centre, that will serve and change the lives and outlook of future generations to come, and to encourage all institutions to never tire of seeking meaningful collaborations. To our partners, the digital transformation in Kenya today will not have been where it is if it wasn't for your support. Whilst holding your hand as a government, we have made significant strides to adapt to the changing technological environment and developmental needs. We still call upon you to work together with us as we complete this journey. I want also to take this opportunity to congratulate Professor Stephen Kiama, Vice Chancellor, University of Nairobi, on your appointment as the rotating president of IIOE for 2022. We are proud of you for placing Kenya in the world map with this deserving appointment. Your appointment serves as a testimony of the great faith the world and our partners have in our higher education institutions. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, let me finish my remarks with a harsh reality. Our collective efforts to date are minimal compared to the technological transfer needs of our nation and the continent. To achieve the cutting-edge change we need, the higher education institutions to be innovators. Technology transfer can be a key element in our innovative approaches. It is essential for us to catalyze and leverage efforts of partners to achieve a scale that matches the magnitude of the challenges. I hope this forum generates ideas and opportunities to help us move forward as a nation, as a continent, and the world. I wish to thank you very much, and I wish you a pleasant day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lucy, for the delivery of the speech from the Principal Secretary. We still want to recognize the Vice Chancellors who are online. So if you are online, please raise your hand so that we can give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. Vice Chancellors who are online. Before they raise their hands, I also want to recognize, oh, okay. Yes, Professor. Please help us. Who is this? You unmute and introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you very much. I'm Joseph Rotich, the Vice Chancellor at Laikipia University.
Professor Abubakar, we can see you online.
Morning. My name is Professor Leila Abubakar, Vice Chancellor, Technical University of Mombasa. Thank you very much. And
thank you, Prof. Wani? Not there. Okay, thank you. Melvin Togo is also here representing the Student Council. He is the President of University of Nairobi Student Association. Thank you. Welcome. We skipped some guests which were supposed to speak. We were chasing the time to allow the PS to address us before he goes for the meeting. But now the PS space has been sorted. I'm now going to invite Mr. Zhang Yu, the board chair of Guangzhou Creative Technology, to make his remarks. And then after that, I'm going to call Mr. Jian Weijian. Thank you.
尊敬的首席嘉宾，肯尼亚信息通讯与技术创新部首席秘书杰罗姆·奥钦先生，内罗毕大学的名誉校长维乔·拉坦西博士也是我们的老朋友了。内罗毕大学校长斯蒂芬·凯马教授，联合国教科文组织驻内罗毕东非多部门地区办事处主任休伯特·吉岑先生，联合国教科文组织高等教育创新中心主任李明教授，肯尼亚粤商会会长贤伟坚先生，那么各位校长、嘉宾和朋友们，大家早上好。很荣幸今天能够参与这个 IIOE 肯尼亚国家中心的启动仪式。在2017年11月，创显科教就正式成为了联合国教科文组织高等教育创新中心的战略的合作伙伴，并于2018年5月签订了亚非6国的合作协议。迄今为止，创显科教始终坚持用创新构建教育公平的世界 为宗旨，先后参与了尼日利亚、乌干达、肯尼亚、蒙古、冈比亚、印尼等6个国家的智慧教室的建设项目。由于内罗毕大学的项目从2018年开始策划实施，那么在这个项目的实施过程当中，正值新冠肺炎席卷全球期间，那么创显科教和内罗毕大学克服了重重的困难，完成了智慧教室的设备的物流发送，并在创新中心的协调和与内罗毕大学的配合下，那么充分运用远程的通讯的手段，积极组织了数场线上的视频交流，那么指导和安装培训活动，完成了从初定协议到项目投入教学使用的过程，那么最终顺利的将智慧教室交付给内罗毕的大学。希望创显科教的先进教学设备能够帮助内罗毕大学的教学人员更好地为教育教学服务，为创新发展高等教育数字化、促进教育公平贡献力量。尤其是在全球抗击新冠肺炎疫情的关键时期，智慧教室能够顺利地投入使用，有效地发挥了其在远程在线教学关键的作用，最大限度地减少了疫情对教育教学的影响。最后，热烈祝贺内罗毕大学智慧教室的正式启动，感谢联合国教科文组织高等教育创新中心在项目实施过程中的鼎力支持，感谢内罗毕大学教学人员的积极的配合。未来，创显科教将在创新中心的指导下，大力支持“一带一路”的工作，与内罗毕大学正深度的加强交流和沟通，拓展我们的技术的应用，为提高教育质量、培育高素质创新人才持续的赋能。同时，我们也展望与在座的20多位校长和学校进行沟通，探索智慧教育的合作模式，以携手推进肯尼亚教育信息化建设。欢迎各位校长和来宾未来通过肯尼亚的国家中心的窗口与我们深入的联系，探讨各个学校的各种教育信息化的需求。非常感谢大家，谢谢。
Mr. Kim or Jian Weijian, please welcome.
尊敬的内罗毕大学校长 Viju Lotis博士，尊敬的肯尼亚内罗毕大学副校长 Steve Campbell 先生，尊敬的联合国教科文组织高等教育创新中心主任李敏教授，女士们、先生们，早上好。
Distinguished Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Dr. Viju Ratansi, Distinguished Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Stephen Kiama, Distinguished Director of UNESCO-ICHEI, Professor Li Ming, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
我是肯尼亚乐商会会长钱伟坚，今天很荣幸代表肯尼亚乐商会参加此次 IIOE 肯尼亚国际中心启动仪式。
I am the president of Kenya Guangdong Chamber of Commerce. I'm very honored to attend the IIOE Kenya National Centre launch ceremony on behalf of the Guangdong Chamber of Commerce.
肯尼亚乐商会成立于2015年6月份，是由肯尼亚广东籍华侨、华人以及华商企业组成的非盈利、非政治性的民间商务机构。 在中国驻肯尼亚大使馆和广东省人民政府的指导下，商会的发展宗旨是搭建中肯两国各领域和和平友好发展的桥梁，提高人民的生活水平，共建中肯两国文化交流、经贸合作的合作平台。
Kenya Guangdong Chamber of Commerce was founded in June of 2015, which is a non-profit and a non-political civil society organization. Under the guidance from Embassy of China to Kenya and the Guangdong provincial government, the mission of Guangdong Chamber of Commerce is build up the bridge to promote the peaceful development in various fields between China and Kenya, to improve the living standards and to build the platform for the cultural communication and the business cooperation for two countries.
肯尼亚粤商会于2019年4月份带领内罗毕大学团队到中国考察，并促成内罗毕大学与广州创显科技股份有限公司签订了战略合作协议，正式启动了双方在数学化教育方面的合作之旅。
In April 2018, Kenya Guangdong Chamber of Commerce organized a delegation to China for University of Nairobi, which facilitated the strategic cooperation agreement between the University of Nairobi and Guangdong Creative Education Technology Corporation. Since then, the journey of digital education between two parties officially started.
后来，由于受到新冠疫情的影响，工作进度受到了一定的程度的影响。期间，肯尼亚粤商会与内罗毕大学的项目负责人领导一起，支持推动项目的向前，终于在今天整整4年时间，实现了项目的落地。今天我很高兴，在这我感谢双方领导为项目的付出。
COVID-19 pandemic in last 2 years, to a certain extent, affected the development of this project. Despite of that, the leaders from both Guangdong Chamber of Commerce and the University of Nairobi tried hard to push the project to move on. And we are very happy to see the project finally launched today at the very time of 4 years anniversary since the start of the journey. And I'm very grateful for the efforts the two parties made.
希望通过 IIOE 肯尼亚国际中心的启动，真正助力通过数学化转型赋能肯尼亚的高等教育。肯尼亚粤商会将一如既往地发挥自己的能量，助力中肯文化技术创新交流，做出更大的贡献。谢谢大家 ，Thank you very much， Santen。
And I hope the establishment of the IIOE Kenya National Centre will serve to empower the country's higher education through digital transformation, and the Guangdong Chambers of Commerce will make more contributions to Sino-Kenya communication and exchanges in terms of cultural and technological innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much for the friendship with the University of Nairobi. It was the friendship with the chamber that invited the Chancellor to Guangzhou and borne fruit to this partnership and now a global partnership. So friendship is very important. Mr. Kim, feel welcome, and you're always welcome at the University of Nairobi. And also with your colleague, Henry, thank you so much, members of the Guangzhou, the Guangdong Chamber of Commerce. I want us to have a video played, and then as we prepare to go to the smart classroom, open the smart classroom on 11th floor of this tower. We shall use the lift, not VIP lift, we shall all use the lift at the center, at the lobby here. Not all of us will fit into that room. It's controlled. We'll have the Chancellor and this table, and the invited Vice Chancellors will go in 2 batches. The other team will remain seated, and then we'll call you once the first team have finished. So the invited guests, that include all the Vice Chancellors, the Chancellor, and this table, you will proceed after the video to 11th floor. And then we go for the launch of the smart classroom and also see the resources that are there, courtesy of this partnership. With those few remarks, I want to ask the ICT team to play the video, and then we leave after that. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for your patience, and thank you for your support. We let the guest, the Chancellor, move first, followed by this table. Then the Vice Chancellors will follow in that order. And for the people in China, our partners in China, we want to thank you very much for keeping you here at late hours. We thank you for the partnership, and let's continue working together to make sure that the IIOE partnership network grows. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This table. Vice Chancellors, please.